If you love nature and beautiful scenery, now Iceland is going to blow you away with its stunning cliffs, waterfalls, and glaciers unlike anything you've ever seen before. But there are definitely things you need to know before you go. So in this travel guide, we're going to share with you the best times of the year to visit Iceland, how to get around, what to pack, and how safe it is to travel in the country. So get ready for a super useful and informative episode of Lucas World Travel.
Now we're Kendra and David Lucas of Lucas World Travel, and we spent 10 days road tripping around Iceland's Ring Road. And we're happy to report that Iceland lives up to the hype. It is as gorgeous as everyone says. But you may be wondering, when's the best time to go? Now, if you're wanting to get those fantastic landscapes with the green moss and see the full power of the waterfalls, you want to head there in the summer, between the months of May and September. This is when you're going to have the best weather to be able to see all of the sights. Now, in the summer, the days are very long, so the sun won't set until 10 p.m. and even as late as midnight. But this gives you a lot of daylight hours to see a lot of the sights. However, if you're wanting to see the northern lights, you can only see those in the winter. And the best months to do that are between November and January, and sometimes as late as March as well. Now, you can only see the northern lights in the winter because this is the time of the year where it's the darkest. You're only getting maybe 4 hours of daylight during the winter time. So the sun might rise at 11 a.m. and then set at 3 p.m. Now, to see the northern lights, you have to have several favorable conditions. This includes a lot of darkness, clear skies, so you can't see it if it's cloudy skies, and there can't be any light pollution. So you won't be able to see this from the city of Reykjavik usually. And because it's the winter, you want to be able to drive, so you would also need favorable road conditions. So because of all those factors, it's probably best to take a tour to see the northern lights, because tour companies are able to read the weather reports very well to know which part of the island has the clearest skies. Alternatively, we've also seen people have good results seeing the northern lights from the Blue Lagoon or the Sky Lagoon. So you can wrap two attractions into one, going to the thermal spas and seeing the northern lights at the same time. But as always, there's no guarantee you're gonna see the northern lights from these lagoons as well.
What to bring and where in Iceland? Well, the first thing you're probably not even thinking about, and that would be a water bottle. Iceland has some of the best fresh water in the world. You'll at least save some money on water, okay? But bring a water bottle so that you can always fill up your water bottle as you go.
Yes, and in regards to clothing, the most important thing to keep in mind is to wear layers and to have a lot of waterproof rain gear. So for your layers, you want to have a base layer. We really liked having the merino wool base layer. That was very comfortable. For our jackets, we had a puffy jacket inside and a waterproof raincoat on the outside. And those 3 layers were perfect for our top. For the bottom, I had fleece leggings and then a water-resistant hiking pant. And that was good as well. On really rainy days though, I also put on an extra rain pant to make sure I was able to keep a little bit more dry. And the good thing about bringing those rain pants is that you can take them off before you get in your vehicle, so you don't have to get your seats all wet. So I found that having those rain pants were really handy in that regard. So it rains nearly half the time in Iceland, but an umbrella is not very useful because when it rains, it's also very windy, and the wind will damage your umbrella, leaving it useless. So we were only able to use our umbrellas half the days that it rained. More often than not, you're just gonna have to go out in your full rain gear without umbrella. So keep that in mind as well. And waterproof shoes as well. Again, very wet environment, so having waterproof shoes is gonna be super helpful. For the winter, the only thing you want to add in addition is crampons. You're going to need those to go see the waterfalls and to go to the beaches because it's quite slippery there in the winter. And Amazon has really affordable and portable crampons, so definitely make sure to pick up some of those before you go to Iceland in the winter. But in the summer, if you're sensitive to sunlight, you might want to bring an eye mask because, like I said, the sun can rise as early as 3 a.m. and it could affect your sleep if you're sensitive to the sun. So bring that eye mask to block out the sun for summertime.
One more thing, what you want to bring is a water resistant bag. Something that you can put all of your electronics in so that your camera, your phone, your battery chargers, none of your electronic equipment gets damaged by the rain, the waterfall, any type of thing like that. So you're protected and all of your stuff don't get ruined in this amazing trip. How to get around Iceland? There are basically 3 ways to do it. You can either take a tour, rent a car, or drive a camper. And we chose to take a tour, but all 3 are good ways to do it. Taking a tour is great because you don't have to worry about logistics, you don't have to worry about navigation, and you don't have to worry about the conditions of the roads. You can either do day trips from Reykjavik or take a tour around the island like we did. The best part about the tour is you can sit back, relax, take out your camera phone and film and enjoy the whole scenery without having to worry about driving or being on the road.
But we also have to admit, renting a car is another great option because this gives you the freedom to stay as long or as little as you like at all these different attractions. Plus, we were surprised actually at how affordable rental cars can be if you know where to look. So be sure to check out the links in the description box below to see just how affordable these rental cars can be. And the conditions of the ring road around Iceland are actually quite good. So even just a small economy car is going to be suitable to help you drive around the country. However, if you want to do the more obscure trails on the F roads or the mountain roads, you're going to need a full 4x4 SUV to ride those roads. This is because those roads are gravel, they're rocky, and there's some water crossings. So you might have to cross a small stream, you might even have to cross a river, and there's sand as well. So it's actually illegal to ride a regular passenger vehicle on these roads. It has to be a 4x4 SUV that has high clearance. And another thing, these roads don't have any services, so they really don't have facilities for bathrooms, gas, food, stores, so you're really out in the wilderness on these roads. So we're still not quite that adventurous, so for us, staying on the ring road and doing an economy car with a rental car would be just perfect.
Now, camper vans are another great option, and I saw a bunch of them while we were there, so people must know that they are a great option.
But regardless of which type of vehicle you rent, you're going to have to keep track of the weather and the road conditions. And a good way to do that is with the website safetravel.is or road.is. These websites are essential for knowing about any road closures or any inclement weather that can affect your travels. So you want to be checking that every day before you head out to make sure the roads are safe to travel on.
Taxis are expensive, and it's good that you know that because just going from the airport to Reykjavik could set you back about $100 in a taxi. But if you schedule airport transfer with Flybus, it only costs you about $25 to $30 to take you into Reykjavik. However, if you're renting a car, you might actually have to take a taxi, but you might be able to find a rental company that will give you a shuttle from the airport.
So the next thing you need to know is all the wonderful things you can do in Iceland. And there's many, too much for this video really, but we'll try to do our best to recap everything we did over our 10 days there. So we started in Reykjavik, and it's good to take a whole day just to see the capital. It's quite beautiful, and the best part is going to the Blue Lagoon, which is so stunning and so relaxing as well. Then you're gonna start your road trip around the Ring Road in Iceland. You definitely have to spend a day going to the Snæfellsnes Peninsula to see the Arnastapi Cliffs and Kikersfell Foss. Then you want to go to the north of Iceland to see the beautiful lakes there. We did whale watching there. There's also lava fields and waterfalls. It's just incredible in the north. Then you can take the Ring Road down to the southeast side of the island, seeing the Glacier Lagoon, seeing the largest glacier in all of Europe, and seeing our favorite, the Diamond Beach. Then coming back southeast, you have all the black sand beaches in Vik, along with the waterfalls, and you can end your tour with the Golden Circle. It's such an incredible time, and if you want more detailed reviews of what to do in Iceland, be sure to check out our full Iceland travel guide playlist at the top and in the description below.
Another pointer you should know is that you should always stay on the trails when you're in Iceland. It's because these are designated areas and high traffic areas that people are allowed to walk on. It's important because it could take up to 70 years for some of those mosses and different things that you're going to experience to grow back. But you don't want to step on something and destroy it by accident.
Now when you go to Iceland, there's some very unique foods you should try as well. One of them in particular, the fermented shark, is unlike anything else we've tried. What fermented shark is, it's shark that has been left out to dry for 3 to 4 months, and this is how you treat the shark. Because if you eat the shark raw, it's actually lethal. So it's really unique. As you eat it, it kind of tastes like bacon at first, but the aftertaste tastes like alcohol. So it's very unique. It's worth a try. I don't know if I would add it to my regular diet.
Now, I don't eat shark. Actually, typically, I don't eat meat. But I will say this. When I'm in a place like this and it's something traditional that they've done, I'll generally try it. It wasn't my favorite. But I want the experience. When am I going to get back to Iceland and try fermented shark? Okay? So it's just one of those experiences. I would say, just try it. Just give it a shot and see if you like it. Some people like it. It wasn't for me.
It was definitely an experience though. There's also a yogurt called Skri, I think it is. And if you're at a hotel, they're gonna definitely have this for breakfast. So definitely try this Icelandic yogurt that they usually put fruit on top to sweeten, and it's quite nice. And then naturally, because Iceland is an island, there's loads of fresh fish to try. So you definitely want to try some of the local fish while you're there.
How expensive is food in Iceland? Well, in short, it's expensive, okay? There's no doubt about it. You go to the grocery store, you're like, what's wrong with these people? But here's the thing. A basic soup for lunch set you back $17, okay? Hamburger and fry cost you about $20. A buffet dinner costs you about $60. So just knowing that will take the sticker shock out of it so that you're not appalled by it. Fortunately, we were on a tour and much of our food was included in it. But the basic necessities, when you go to a grocery store, just to see some of the cost and see how they do things there, mostly everything is imported into this place. So naturally, it's going to be, margins are going to be up. But this is super expensive place as far as on the scale of cost of things.
So another thing you should try when you're on your Iceland road trip is to eat at a gas station. So these are really popular because they have decent cafeterias inside and decent food. We really enjoyed our meal there. And like David mentioned, The food's not going to be cheap. Don't think that because it's a gas station, the food's going to be cheap. The burger and fry will still cost $20 in the gas station. But there's very limited restaurants while you're doing your road trip, so you might have to eat at gas stations sometimes because that will be the only thing available on the road. You can also stock up in grocery stores. You can save a little bit by shopping at grocery stores.
Yet another thing you need to know before you go to Iceland is book everything in advance. You want to book your hotels, your restaurants, and your tours because all of these are likely to fill up. Campsites are one of the only things you don't have to book in advance.
Yes, campsites rarely fill up. You can get a list of those and just stay at whichever one is convenient at the time. You can even get one of these camping cards, which is a prepaid card which covers about 40 different campsites around the island. And that's a great way to both save money and to know exactly where you're going to stay every night. Just know that camping is only allowed in campsites, so you can't do any wild camping at all. Again, the main concern there is they don't want you on the moss and damaging the moss. And one of the most common questions people ask Google is Iceland safe? And we're happy to pronounce that Iceland is one of the safest countries in the world. There's next to no petty crime. I don't think I've heard of any tourist scams going on there. Although the prices are so high, you will think you're getting scammed, but just know that locals and tourists are paying these really elevated prices. So it's not a scam, it's just the way things are. I'd say the only dangerous thing in Iceland is the weather. So like I said earlier, you want to check the weather every day to make sure there are no storms coming that can affect your trip or could affect the roads in any way.
The currency in Iceland is called the krona, but we don't recommend that you withdraw cash. If you have your credit card, that'll be sufficient. But you want to use a credit card that doesn't have the foreign transaction fees. Also, you want to download the currency converter app. This is very helpful because it tells you how much money you're spending when you spend it.
And you may be wondering what language they speak in Iceland. Well, they simply speak Icelandic, but it is not a simple language whatsoever. It's one of the most difficult languages in the world to pronounce. And man, oh man, just pronouncing the cities and locations was a real mouthful for us. But it's always good to know at least one word in the local language. So if you want to say thanks, you can just say tack. But other than that, I'd say it's really easy to get by with English in Iceland. Most people do speak English, so you can just speak normally. Throw an occasional tack, thank you in there, and you'll be good to go in Iceland.
Outlets in Iceland. This one is a must. Iceland has a 2-prong Euro plug that takes 230 volts. That basically means that you need to make sure that you have a converter that can handle that, and you also need to make sure that your electronics can handle that kind of voltage. It's a high amount of voltage, and so you don't want to destroy your electronics by plugging into a socket and ruining your laptop or ruining your phone. So you just want to read the fine print on your converter and make sure that it can deal and adapt from 110 to 230 volts, which is quite a lot.
Yeah, luckily these days, most computers, phones, cameras, they can do that, but definitely want to read the fine print to be sure. And another tip, maybe the most important one, is in order to save money on your flight to Iceland, if you're coming from North America, you might want to check out Play Airlines. They had some of the cheapest flights we could fly going to Reykjavik. Our round trip flight wound up being $500 going from Dulles, and that included all our luggage and everything else. So they're a very good budget airline. Naturally, if you're coming from Europe, there are dozens of budget airlines to get to Iceland. However, coming from North America, it's very challenging to find a budget way to get there. So definitely check out Play to see if you can save money on your flight there. All right, well, that was everything you needed to know before you go to Iceland. So if you like these tips, Please give the video a like and remember to subscribe and ring the bell so you can get even more great travel tips from all around the world. But if you'd like to know even more things to do in Iceland, check out our full Iceland travel guide playlist on the right there. As always, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for sharing with all your travel buddies, and happy travel planning until next time.